Agree, Paul? Good evening, everyone. It's 6:30. We're going to start a special town council workshop meeting at 6:30. We'll open up with any public input. Hearing none, we'll close public input and we'll continue on with discussion items. This is covering the budget items and for our proposed next year's budget for 2026-2027 budget. And we have Troy Meyer is going to present a presentation for us in PowerPoint. Troy, take it away.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So tonight, we wanted to kind of get in front of the budget. So this is the first view of the budget. And so this is something that is a working document for this month. So as I go through this presentation, if there's things within the CIP program, which you're going to see a 5-year plan that we've never had here at Copper Canyon, you're going to see that tonight. And then also you're going to see the operation budget as well. And these are just first drafts. So what I would recommend is you guys take a look at this over the next week or so. And if you have any changes or projects you want to add or anything like that, feel free to either meet with me one-on-one, give me a call, shoot me an email, that type of thing. And so the other thing I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of are some key dates that are coming up quickly for us. So tonight we have the workshop. And then the reason we didn't kind of put this budget out there in the packets is because, as you guys know, on July 25th, the county has to submit their certified tax rolls and values. And so this budget is not final yet because we don't have our final revenue numbers. And as you guys also know, more than 50% of our revenue comes from our property tax. So the number you'll see highlighted in that operational budget is an estimated based on what we're seeing. The other phenomenon that happened this year is as of the second week in June, over half of our properties values were being protested. So to try to create a budget based on the activity that's going on, and then the county follows up with an email and says, hey, we're going to do everything that we can to get those certified numbers to you guys by July 25th, but there still may be some hanging out there. So just kind of keep that in mind as we kind of move through the budget. So what will happen is on August 10th, you guys will get first glance at a budget that I think will be pretty solid with everybody's input. And then you'll get a second swipe at this on July 24th. We'll also approve all of our budget amendments for the 25-26 fiscal year as well. And then September 8th, we'll present a proposed tax rate based on the budget we had built, because the state says you got to pass your budget first, and then you approve your tax rate. So those are some key dates coming up. So for tonight, we look at one of the big things we'll look at tonight is our CIP program, which is our capital improvement plan. And that kind of is going to give us a picture of what's going to happen over the next 1, 3, and 5 years. And so that helps us kind of say, hey, are we going to have any big expenses coming up? How do we manage those expenses based on the revenue sources that we have and how much money we have in the bank as well? So we're building that as part of the budget. And then long-term planning, one of the things we always look at, and I think that the town has done, is what are some large expenses that are coming? That's one reason we do that CIP plan. So for example, if you look at the Estates Bridge, we're partnering with the county to do that, but we need to also reconstruct that entire road. So that's going to be a big expense in about 3 or 4 years, and this helps kind of plan for that. Also at this proposed budget that you see today, there's some funds that are left over at the end of the year, like we've performed over the past previous years. We've always had some dollars left over. So we roll those into our reserve funds, and that's helping us pay some of these projects from a cash perspective. And we'll continue to do that as well, and do our proactive maintenance on streets and roads as we've done every year. We do the crack sealing, we do pothole repairs, that type of thing. We build that into our operation budget. So infrastructure-wise, what do we have? We have roads. We have a lot of drainage concerns, as you guys can imagine. And then we have the sewer lines that are in Vickery and also in Williams Ranch that are ours to maintain as well. So those are our utilities to go along with that. As far as transparency, I think what you'll find, and I'm looking for y'all's feedback this year, is on that CIP plan, you not only will have a summary of all the projects, but then you'll have project sheets that will describe what that project is. So if it's surface drains, it's going to say surface drains. It's going to say how we're going to repair them and that type of thing. So you'll see more details, and you're going to see it broken down into engineering costs, construction costs, and then total amounts, and then it's going to forecast that out through the upcoming years as well. It also has a ranking system. When we met with the finance committee, they asked us to kind of rank those projects. And so y'all can take a look at those rankings. And again, if it's something y'all want to tweak, change, now would be the time to do that as well. And then this is kind of your roadmap for the upcoming years. And then we also looked at what have we done this year to lay the groundwork to be successful long term. And I think the things that you guys have done and the mayor is we approved a fiscal budget policy. We've updated our investment policy, and then we still, with our reserve funds, we invest in Textpool and Logic, which gives us higher interest rates than your local banks. And then we do our quarterly reports on our investment policy. So you'll get that quarterly report for the third quarter in August as well. And then that's going to give you a snapshot of what we have in our investment funds, which then will tie back to the budget and then ties back to the CIP. And of course, we do our monthly operation reports as well. So we have that to kind of keep us on track from month to month. And then, like I mentioned earlier, for the first time, we're doing a 5-year forecast on our CIP big projects. So you'll see that today as well. Infrastructure, again, some more groundwork was laid this year thanks to this council and the mayor. We did the digital assessment of the public roads. In years past, we kind of just drove the roads and said, yeah, we think this needs to be repaired or this needs to be crack sealed. This year, we used technology in our favor, and they did the digital report, which you guys remember seeing that, and it scheduled out, when these roads may fail and what conditions they were currently in. We also did the sewer rate study. The benefit of that, that hasn't been done in, I think, the last 3 or 4 years. That gave us a perspective. If our sewer rate stayed the same, could we still maintain what we have that we have in the ground? And the answer is yes, we can. We also, with the help of TMP, we do inspections on new developments on a regular basis. So every month, we're out there doing inspections on drainage, bar ditches, tanks, ponds, the whole deal, to make sure that we don't get in a situation where that development goes through and things were not done correctly. So we are on that on a monthly basis. From a safety and operation perspective, we're in the process of installing the Opticon system on 407 in Vickery, that intersection. What that will do is when the emergency vehicles approach that intersection, they can cause that light to turn green and they can move traffic out of their way. The mayor also requested from TxDOT to put a no right turn lane coming out of Vickery and Williams Ranch just because of the speed, and people misjudge the speed when they pull out. So that was something else we did. We purchased a new police car this year, but we also got rid of our old inventory, the 2 cars that were the oldest, that were creating some maintenance issues for us. So that was another thing that we did. And then we're going to increase security here at Town Hall, go along with that. So our next slide, I guess I was behind a slide. So as you guys know, Town Hall updates for this year, we're going to update the dais. We're going to put some security measures in the dais with panic buttons and those type of things that are coming soon. We should have that complete by mid-August. We've also kind of helped from an operations perspective as we were seeing developments come on board. We've had weekly meetings with TMP to discuss everything from permits to developments to final plats, preliminary plats, just to make sure everybody's moving in the same direction. We have a third-party service, Safe Build, who does all of our permitting and our plan review. So there's some continuity there and some consistency to go along with that. And then what did you guys do this year to preserve the environment, to keep that rural feel? We passed a tree ordinance. We passed the aviation ordinance. We've updated and corrected some references as it relates from chapters 1 through 14. We have some ordinances that I think we had approved before the end of the fiscal year, which will be the lighting ordinance, open space ordinance as well. So those are coming, and also the container ordinance. So you guys have recognized some issues out in the community, and that's exactly what you guys should be doing to kind of stay in front of and help preserve that rural feel. So those are coming. So what's in the budget? What's in the proposed budget for this upcoming year? We've got the Estates Bridge, as we mentioned. Back when that was cost analysis was done on that, I think about 4 years ago, the project was about $1.2 million, and the town had committed about $250,000, which was about 10%, 20% of the project. And so now I think we're in the engineering phase. The county's paying for all the engineering phase of that. We just met again this past month, and so they're about 60 to 70% done with their engineering drawings. So they're going to bring us some better numbers or updated numbers. So, they may ask, do we want to contribute some more dollars to that project now that I'm pretty sure that price has gone up over the past 4 years. And so in this year's budget, you'll see some proposed amounts to increase that. We've also met with residents that are going to be impacted. There's 4 homes and residents that are impacted directly due to the upgrade of that bridge. And so there's been some requests to do some aesthetic pleasing things instead of having just riprap walls and that type of thing. So anytime a TxDOT project like this happens, if you're going to do any upgrades like that, a lot of times they're going to say, well, if you want them, you got to pay for them. So we may just be prepared to do that as well. So we'll have more information on that. We're also planning, if the project stays on track and they get all the drawings done, we'll have like an open house or a public meeting probably in September for everybody that lives down Estates and all down that area that'd be affected by the bridge. So that's coming soon as well. Chin Chapel, there's a lot of the buttons are missing in the center lanes. Some striping needs to be done, so that project's in there. And just, preparing fiscally, continue to do our annual maintenance on that. Then our sewer system that I think a lot of us forget about because it's underground and nobody really thinks about it. We continue to monitor that. In this upcoming year's budget, you'll see, and let me back up just a second. So the sewer fund is a utility fund. And so whatever we get from our sewer bills, and we have to use for that type of fund. We can't take the sewer fund and say, oh, I'm going to buy a new police car or help remodel the town hall. So those funds are restricted. And as we found that out in the rate study as well. And so what we're planning to do this upcoming year, and this was part of the rate study that was done, is we want to go ahead and do a CCTV diagnosis where they put cameras down the lines to make sure there's no belly occurring. And as those lines get older, a lot of times they'll settle and sink. So we're going to confirm that. And then we'll also do smoke testing on the system as well. So what is smoke testing in a sewer system? They put smoke down there. And if the smoke comes up out of somebody's gutter, that means they've illegally tapped into the sewer system, and everything that runs down that gutter getting metered going to Fire Mound, we pay for. And so you want to make sure that nobody does that. Occasionally it happens, but that's why you would want to do a smoke test to see where all those lines are running. Drainage, we've got some drainage projects in tap for this year. Boots Ranch, right along Copper Canyon Road at the entrance. In our right-of-way, there's a lot of standing water. And when they built that subdivision, it was supposed to cut back through the subdivision. And for some reason, it didn't happen. And so we're going to try to correct that this year. There's another little project on Chin Chapel, just past the railroad tracks to the north, where we laid all the rocks. Some of those rocks are starting to fall down, so we're trying to stabilize those so it doesn't create a long-term problem for us. And again, just being proactive with doing preventative maintenance. This year, we did do some preventative maintenance on our sewer lines. They redid some of the lids and kind of, did some things where there's some potential leaks going on. And what I mean by leaks is when we get a large rainfall and that water falls into that sewer system, goes in the system, goes through the meter, we pay for. So it's in our best interest to do these type maintenance projects so that we contain anything that goes in there is just the sewer and nothing else, no storm water, that type of thing. So we've done that. The other thing is how we've enhanced the community. As I mentioned earlier, we did the Opticon at 407 and Vickery, and the next step is to do the signal light at 407 and Copper Canyon Road. Now, this one's a little tricky because the control box is actually in Double Oak. So we have to work with them and partner with them because TxDOT will not let us get into that box without the permission in which that box is in that jurisdiction. And so I've reached out to Double Oak. They're going to talk to their new council and see if that's something they're interested in, but we'll work that. But that's also in the budget for this year. As far as the other things that we're doing is facilities, we've upgraded our town facilities and we'll continue to do that. There was a request to update some signage around town, around the roundabout, along the railroad tracks, the trails. If you guys are familiar with the horse trails, there's 2 kiosks, one off Chin Chapel and then one just on the other side of 2499 that probably haven't been updated in years, and they're looking pretty sparse and patchy. So We've had some folks voice some concerns now that we have all these electronic scooters and bikes that they're jumping on the horse trail. So there's some signage needed to not allow those guys on the trail. So there's kind of a signage package that you'll see in the budget this year. As far as the regulations and administration piece of this, as we've been doing and you guys are continuing to do, is update the ordinance to protect that rural field. So as I mentioned earlier, it's the open space ordinance and trying to preserve that open space, whether it's a private development or a public development, whatever it may be. And do some standardization as well. You guys recall we updated the engineer design manual as it relates to stormwater and pavement and that type of thing. Well, that's a 400-page document. So we're constantly looking at how we can improve that document along with the town website. Governance, we started training, and we're going to have potentially new board members come on some of our committees. So making sure they have adequate training to create some consistency along with all the other boards. So really, if you're going to preserve, it requires a lot of preparation. And so the CIP plan that you guys are going to see, it talks about the infrastructure, modernizing that, and then constantly keeping our ordinances updated. So I know the mayor said, wow, we've done a lot of ordinance this year. Well, that's kind of what we need to do because we haven't done it in a while. So we're kind of playing catch up, as you guys know, and I think you guys have done a great job at getting those ordinance on the table and out and considered for approval. So that's how you're going to maintain your rural field. So tonight, we're going to go through the CIP program and the summary sheet, and then we'll take a look at each individual sheet and just really looking for feedback from you guys. Does this format, can you guys see that? Is the format good? Does it work well? Is it easy to follow? Because that's when we met with the finance committee, that was one of the things I'd ask them is, does this flow well? Can you understand it? And so we're going to kind of run through that. So if you flip past the blue tab, you're going to see that a 5-year capital improvement projections. And so on the left-hand side, you have your CIP projects. You have your surface drainage, your Boots Ranch, and then it goes through the road projects, and then facilities and others, and then there's your signage and your town hall improvements. And so across the top, you'll see the ranking, what the funding source is, and then what years may we have some of these costs occurring, some of the outer years. And so, looking at the format, I felt like this is a format that I've used in several different cities, and it's easy to follow once you kind of, understand it. And so at the bottom, about 3/4 of the way down, you see that orange stripe. And so that's the total governmental cost from year to year to year. And you try to keep those at an even kill. So you look at some of those, and then you look at FY 29-30, and we have a $1.1 million potential cost there. And that's because that is the state's road being rehabbed after the bridge is done. Because we don't want to rehab that road until that bridge is completed, because all the big trucks and everything that'll be going down the road. So it's really planning, can we afford that in that particular fiscal outer year? And so I think we can. And then the next line, you see sewer infrastructure. And again, like I mentioned earlier, that's a standalone budget. It's its own budget. It doesn't affect the general fund at all. And then you have total expenditures as well, just kind of give you a snapshot of that. And then the lower half, you see the total impact on funding sources. So when you look at drainage improvement, road improvements, estate bridge, town hall, court security, and CIP improvements, and then wastewater, we have those line items already in the budget. And so we're just putting money from the money that we've saved over previous years that went into these reserve funds, because we have the bank where we hold our operating costs and our restricted funds such as CIP, all that's in the bank. And then under your investment pools where we were getting more interest, we created a reserve fund and a road fund so we can get more interest. So those funds have enough dollars in them to fund these projects. And so you see the cost of the projects that match what's up top. And then you see ending available balances. And then to the right of that, you have the 5-year funding projection. So if we were going to use our leftover cash at the end of each year, which we've been averaging about 500,000 to 600,000, we'd want to put those in these funds to make sure that we can do the repairs, the road maintenance, and all those things that are there to support that. So we average that out to about 460,000 a year that we would have some extra dollars left over at the end of each fiscal year that we can put into these funds to help do this CIP plan. Now, the other thing you got to remember about capital projects, and I think what you guys did in years past, is you took out bonds. So I think in 2016, 2019, and 2021, there were some bonds taken out because y'all didn't have the cash available to do those projects. So when you take out bonds like that, and they figure out your tax rate, that keeps your tax rate higher. What's happening is we're paying off all those bonds. We'll get one paid off, I think, this year. Our next one, we'll have them all paid off by 2030. So it's a great thing. But when it comes to your tax rate, what that does, it automatically starts dropping your tax rate, automatically, because you don't have your bond payments in there anymore. So you've kind of got to balance that as well, because the state just set it up so that they want cities, I guess, to take out bonds to maintain their tax rate and to maintain their infrastructure. So that's something we may want to consider as we get closer to 29 to 30 fiscal year, to do maybe a 7-year tax note to kind of help balance and slow down that drop of the tax rate. Because the other thing is that tax rate starts to drop, and all of a sudden these big projects come up. The state says you only can raise that tax rate up to 3%. I think it's 3.2%. So you can get behind the 8 ball pretty quick if you let that tax rate drop too low. But we'll go over the tax rate as we go through the budget in August and September. The next couple of sheets, and these are just sheets that will reflect all the projects. So this will also be in the budget in August as well. We'll have to update a few of these if we change priorities or change years, but just wanted you guys to see the transparency and what the projects are. And then I think anybody who comes in and looks at this says, oh yeah, we're going to work on town hall and it's going to consist of X, Y, and Z type of thing. So that's what you have there. And I want to kind of keep us on track. So y'all can look at those this week. And if you have any questions, let me know. Towards past the orange tab, you have the draft of the budget. This is the same format that we've used for years, and it's worked well for us. So if you look at the top, you have on the far right-hand side, you have the description of each line item and kind of what we're anticipating. Then you have the proposed budget of 26, 27. And then you have the current year's balances, whether it's revenue or whether it's the expense. But if you'll notice, that was done on 6/27. So in August, on August 24th, we'll only have 1 month left, and we'll do a better job at projecting what those amendments are. And then you guys will approve those amendments, because the state says every municipality has to have budget amendments if there's any discrepancy in a line item, and you guys have to review and approve. So that's coming. So with that, everything that's highlighted in yellow, in kind of that brighter yellow. So if you look at property tax, again, that's just an estimate to help build the budget. We don't have our certified numbers. I'm gonna scroll through this pretty quickly. If you look down, the next one is 30,000 for interest rates. We lowered that because interest rates are falling. We used to get about 4.5 or almost 5%. Now it's about 3 3/4. So it's dropping. So we're anticipating that. We have the CCPD transfer of 200,000. That's typically what we do. The next page, you have town administration. That's all the town staff. So that's all 3 of us. We had built in a 4% COLA and a 3% merit. We took out the part-time person that was in there from the previous year. We will also ask the council to consider, under the retirement system, the state had passed a new bill that said that if the municipalities wanted to go up to 8% matching per year for all the employees, they can do that. We'll have to pass a resolution if that's something you guys are interested in. The impact for us from the admin side would be about $4,700 per year. The next one is healthcare stipend, looking at what other municipalities are doing and what they're seeing. I've talked to Double Oak, Hickory, and Bartonville. they're going to see probably about a 10 to 18% increase in their healthcare cost. So we increased that stipend just a tad. Further down, you have town hall maintenance at 18.5. That went up a little bit. We have our fire inspection done on the building every year. So those crash bars that you'll see on that door right there, you'll notice the new one, and that's for fire protection. And so we have to do that to all of our exits. And that's about a $800 little device there. Insurance, you're going to see throughout the document, the insurance, we have not gotten our insurance rates confirmed yet. And so that will come and hopefully have that done by August. So you guys will see that. And then one that I did not highlight about midway down is computer hardware. You'll see a big jump to 24,000. We are looking to find a new vendor for our IT services. But the other key thing we want to do is we want to do an assessment on our equipment to ensure that it's secured. You guys hear a lot about security and computer stuff. And as you go through this document, anything that's highlighted, there were some changes. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you go to page 5, the CIP fund is all highlighted because until you guys decide exactly what projects y'all want to do, then we'll build that into the budget as well. But that in a nutshell, and then we also, one last thing on the last page, tree mitigation fund. As you guys know, we had, that fund has some dollars in it now, and we look to plant some trees here on the property, here at Town Hall. But that is, in a nutshell, at first glance, kind of what the budget looks like. And like I mentioned, if you guys have any questions and want to meet with me one-on-one, be happy to do that. And then you'll see another version of this on October 10th and the 24th.
One heck of a report. Great job on this.
Thanks.
Excellently
I just
done.
really want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Because that was no, nod to Chief Vaughn or anything, but I just want to say that was a fire hose. And
It's
really,
a lot. It's a lot of
it was a lot.
information. Yeah.
Thank you for everything that
Yeah,
you did.
no worries. And Sheila helped with that as well.
Yep.
And thank you, Sheila.
To
'cause
put all
that
this
was
together.
tremendous.
So yes.
If I can ask just a couple of questions, just
Sure.
quickly. One, I saw on the reinspection fees. A couple of months ago, Denton County basically voted on a new fee schedule for
Right.
re-inspections and things like that.
Okay.
Do we match? Because theirs increased significantly, and so I'm wondering if our fees are
Cor-
on par.
Great question. The mayor has tasked me to update our fee structure. And so we're going to be looking at that probably in the next, October timeframe. And so we'll bring that back to you guys as well. So we'll look into that for
Yeah,
sure.
because the county basically determined that what they were charging was not enough for all the times that their inspectors had to go out there. And so they brought it up to what now it
Yeah.
costs to do it. The other question is, are we looking into tapping into grants? Because I know that FEMA, for example, for all these drainage projects we
Right.
have, they have grants available. Likewise, to improve security here, you can get grants from the federal government. Are we looking
Right.
to tap
We-
into that?
We have looked into some, but not here recently. The tricky part with federal grants is your population matters sometimes. There's a lot of criteria to apply for those, and sometimes we will fit the criteria. And then they're going to require you to do reporting over the next 2 to 4 years on everything that was done and that type of thing. So there's a balance, depending how much the grant. If the grant's a large amount, then certainly it's worth us looking at and doing. So we'll look into that.
We will look into them, though. We're going to look into them, no question about it. If we find something that fits our needs, we'll, of course, utilize them if we get
When
any kind of money.
UNT has a huge database that we can tap into.
Okay?
Okay.
One last little thing.
I was going to say, Janae, she's on the finance committee. Do you have any other last comments?
Yes,
Short.
just one last
brief?
little thing. Thank you, and again, thank you for everything. If we could just match up the line item codes for the account number to the funding type, just to kind of help people dial in on what the
Yes, we
what
can do.
the things are, just to kind of help
Yes.
people for the budget.
Yep. We can do
If
that.
you don't mind, sorry, you
Nope.
did so much. I don't want to.
No, that's
nitpick it.
fine.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah.
You did a million things.
Yeah.
So I don't want to.
If you look at the very last page of your budget, you'll see some of those on the far right-hand side, but we can create that and reference.
I wrote, and they're in over here on the budget,
Yes.
but just to match up the 5-year capital improvement project projection. Do you remember when I took
Yes.
over here for? Sorry, I'm trying to hurry. 30 seconds. Give me. When I took these. Oh, these. When I
Yes.
wrote those?
individual sheets.
Just to match the item numbers. Just to
Yes.
kind of help them dial
Okay.
into it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That was it.
Just for everybody to understand then, so what the process is, we're going to do here now is each one of the council members will have this booklet. They'll be taking it home. They'll be looking at it. They're going to work with Troy and they're going to see what kind of capital improvement projects we have, what kind of items they see going around our town as far as what needs to be worked on, what we can afford to do, what we can't afford to do. And then they'll work with Troy and we're going to accumulate all those to an August budget proposal. And I'm going to say this, the biggest thing we have that I'll continually say here all the time is fiscal responsibility is what keeps us in the green. We are not spending more than we're making. So we are saving money, we are putting money away because we know the projects that we're going to have to deal with on ourselves are going to cost more money in the future than what they are right now. So great job, Troy, and great balancing of the budget and thanks for us.
I did have a comment.
And
if
you
we're
did too.
running out. I do. I just want to say that behind the scenes for this, and I want to thank you for all the work, the behind the scenes on this is that this is the residents' money, but the idea that we're doing for this, the council does get to decide what we're doing for this. But we want to make sure that we're investing in our town and that we're putting money in preparing for the things that break down before they break down by putting the loving care of fiscally responsible money into our town. We're making sure that we are taking care of things before they break down. If we don't take care of things now, we're going to have a mess later.
Absolutely. That's why you're on the finance committee.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we want to be fiscally responsible and not waste money, but we have to take care of things now.
I will take a motion if there are any other discussion items, I don't hear any, and I'll take a motion to adjourn this special town council workshop.
I make a
to
motion
adjourn.
that we adjourn the special town council workshop.
Second.
Second.
So a motion made by Councilmember Janae Newton, seconded by Councilmember Victoria Hubbard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. That's unanimous. Meeting adjourned at 7 p.m.